August 9th. This is the fourth video, including I guess the little addendum that I just did about the hacking that I've been experiencing. So this is the room I work out in. It's a great room. And this is a really important part of what I call the torture that's been afflicted on me. What happens is I get struck with pains during specific songs, okay, of my workout. Everybody, has their favorite songs they work out to, their favorite CDs, or they listen to, whatever their playbook on thing. I never trusted digital stuff. I use CDs and DVDs, and I will continue to do that. And it's a good thing because I've been so badly hacked. I never would have been able to use the computer anyway to listen to what I wanted to listen to or whatever. I have a lot of trouble with the TV too. I listen to the music stations on the TV, and I have a lot of trouble with those too. So I'm just lucky I kept all my CDs and my DVDs, which is the main tool of my workout. And so basically what happens is I get struck with pains during specific songs. One of them that really stands out is Candyman. And I didn't know why I kept getting struck with pains when I was exercising to Candyman, and my son said, "Oh, you know what the Candyman means, eh? It's bad." Roy Orbison's Candyman. He said, "Oh, you know what Candyman means?" And he said, "It's a scary thing. It's pretty bad." So I didn't even know this. This is like a year after already it was happening, and it still happens to this day, but not so much. Not so much as the beginning. At the beginning, which I started working on about 2017, early 2017. And this is because of that major weight gain, that very sudden weight gain, where it changed my body. My whole metabolism has changed. After 50 years, it changed so dramatically. It's really questionable. And, for the first time in my life, I'm taking diet supplements. I'm working out every day, almost every day, except weekends, which I've never done before, and it's made absolutely no difference. No difference at all. So there's definitely something not right there. And so far, and there's been no underlying issues. There would have been an underlying issue by now. There would have been something, but there's nothing. So, and if you judge by the way I work out, there's no underlying issues. I'm sweating like my clothes are drenched in sweat. So anyway, the pains hit during specific songs, one of them being Candyman. There's also Betty Lou Has a New Pair of Shoes. I get struck by pains in my ankles, in my shins, whenever I exercise to Betty Lou Has a New Pair of Shoes, which is by Neil Young. And there are several other songs as well. It's gotten a little bit better since I've been talking about it more and more. Another thing that's really strange is whenever I'm changing CDs, I started to notice that there would be like this upsurge of burning pain, horrible burning pain, to the point where I'd have to lie down and put my feet up. So I'd get, every time I'm changing CDs, and particularly before The Who, when I'm changing to The Who, I get struck with this horrific, it's horrible. I keep saying horrible. It's because I can't think of any other word. Horrible. It feels like it's almost coming up from the ground, and it's upsurging through my feet, my ankles up, and it's just debilitating. It's absolutely debilitating. It's so painful, and every time I change my CDs, I get this pain. So I've written it in my diary. I documented my diary many times. And I'm still getting it today. When I worked out, it got really bad before I changed to the Who CD. So that's one thing. Now another thing that's really important, and these videos disappeared. I did some videos about how I've been trying to change from my prison looking. They're so worn out. These black running shoes with the white underneath. They look like prison shoes, the running shoes, and I've had these for years, and they're really worn out. And the last time I tried to change my shoes, this was years ago, I got this really bizarre cramp. It was like a really bizarre. I could tell it. It has nothing to do with the shoe. This really bizarre cramp in my right foot, right in kind of the middle of the foot, starting at the toes and going right through. And what happened was I just gave up. I thought, you know what? I know this pain is weird. It's not normal, but I'm just going to give up and go back to my prison-looking running shoes, which I did. And it was workable at the time. But now they're so worn out. So recently I tried again, and the same thing happened. I got a really excruciating cramp in my right foot, in the middle, right in the middle, same place, exactly the same place as like a year and a half or 2 years ago when I last tried. So when this is what I got when I put these good running shoes on. I wanted to change. I really want to change to these good running shoes because I'm doing a lot of like aerobic stuff too. And again, I got the cramp, and and also what happens later is I get this pressure in the ankle area. There's all this really excruciating, painful pressure that starts happening in when I put the good professional running shoes on in the ankle area. So, but this time I didn't. I just I refused to concede. I did not give up. I persisted. I was very tenacious about it, and now I'm wearing my running shoes after about a week. Now the pain has completely disappeared. And I've worn these running shoes before. When I bought them, they were fine. I wore them a few times. I remember I wore them out a few times. They were fine. The shoes were fine. But starting in mid-2016, it's like I could not wear anything other than these prison-looking, not very good running shoes. Like, they're not even professional running shoes. They're just sort of trendy looking running shoes. They're just basically for fashion. So I did not. So I persisted, and now I'm wearing these running shoes, and suddenly that cramp has completely disappeared. This cramp also, before I forget, this reminds me very much of the cramp that I was getting when I was going for a walk with my son to the boardwalk at our beach close by. Every time I would go for a walk with him last year, I don't even go anymore. We used to go for a walk. Every time, as soon as I stepped out of the van, I would get the same thing, this excruciating pain in my right foot. Like I said, I described it to you, and it would persist. It would just continue, and through almost half the walk. Now, this is when I was smoking. This is when I was chewing on a Nicorette. Sometimes I do chew on a Nicorette, and not very often. It takes me a long time to finish a pack. Sometimes when I need it, I'll chew it. So I would pop that in my mouth, and I noticed that this is another pattern, but very much related to the pattern I was talking about. Whenever I chew on a Nicorette, I get pains in my ankles. I get struck with pains in my ankles, pain in my right foot, as I was just describing. So that pain I was getting in the right foot is basically, I call it the Nicorette pain. It's my Nicorette pain, the pain in the right foot. It's like a cramp, a really strong, intense cramp, and leads me to limping. I'm limping a lot when I experience this cramp. So that's that pain that I got when I was putting on those good professional running shoes. That pain was exactly the same as the Nicorette pain that I've experienced so many times. I experience it when I go out too. I'll get to that. I can elaborate on that in another video. I get that a lot when I go out, and that's why a lot of times when I'm in stress, I'm kind of groaning sometimes. I'm chewing on a Nicorette, and I'm groaning because I'm getting this weird Nicorette pain. And a lot, with this pattern too, like when I get a pain in my ankle, for example, immediately before I go out to smoke. What does the ankle have to do with smoking? What does a pain in the buttock, or what does a sharp pain across my neck have to do with smoking? Like, what does that have to do? Okay, the neck, some idiot is going to say, oh, well, the reason you're getting a pain in your neck is because it's warning you. Like, anybody will say anything. But to get the pain before, back to the pattern, to get an ankle pain or a shin pain or a pain in your buttock or your anus, yes, many times, anus. or, your eye contour area, striking pain across, has nothing to do with smoking anyway. Like the pains, it's just like, it sounds to me like, anyway, I'm just speculating here. The doctors don't take well to me talking like this, so I'm just going to leave it at that and I will resume.